Hello and welcome to our English news edition, the major stories. Participation of the head of state at the 20th summit of the Arab League leaders. In the head of state interview with the Jen Afrique, no need for cabinet reshuffle, says the President of the Republic. In Syria, arrival of the OPCW inspectors in Damascus to investigate the chemical attack. Thank you for joining us in our newsroom. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Ismail Margile, arrived this morning at the city Dhahran in east of Saudi Arabia to take part in the 29th Ordinary Summit of Kings, Princes and Heads of States of the country members of the Arab League. The head of state was greeted upon his arrival at the international airport of King Fahd by senior Saudi government officials and members of the delegation of Djibouti, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Mr. Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. The most important issues that will be discussed at the Dhahran summit are the Palestinian issue in the Arab-Israeli conflict, as well as the latest developments in the Syrian, Yemeni and Libyan arenas, as well as supporting the peace and development process in Sudan and in Somalia in the fight against international terrorism. The summit comes at a time when many countries in the Arab world are suffering from political security and humanitarian problems, forcing Arab leaders to take decisions and measures to put an end to these challenges. This summit comes after the meetings of the Arab foreign ministers meeting last Thursday in Riyadh to discuss the most important issues of the summit, including the Palestinian issue, current situation in Syria, Yemen and Libya, the Iranian interventions of the internal affairs of the Arab countries. Djibouti's president will also participate tomorrow in the closing ceremony of the joint exercise called the Gulf Shield 1, organized in Saudi Arabia with the participation of the forces and controls of the 23 countries, including the Republic of Djibouti. And finally, the President of the Republic will hold talks with his counterparts in the Arab country on the sidelines of this annual summit. The work of the 29th Arab Summit began today in Dhahran, eastern Saudi Arabia, with the participation of several Arab leaders, including President of the Republic, who arrived this morning in Dhahran. The opening session of this summit, chaired by King Salman bin Abdulaziz of Saudi Arabia in the presence of King Abdullah II, King of the Kingdom of Jordan, President of the previous sessions of the summit, the Emir of Kuwait, in the presence of Egypt, Sudan, Somalia, Libya, Tunisia, Comoros and Palestine. The ceremony of the opening of this summit also saw the participation of the Secretary General of the Arab League, the Secretary General of the United Nations, the President of the Commission of the African Union, and the High Representative for the Foreign Policy and Security of the European Union, the General of the Organization of the Islamic Cooperation, Yusuf bin Ahmed Al-Utaymin, and the President of the Arab Parliament, Dr. Michal Al-Salami. The leaders of the Arab countries discussed at this annual conference ways to strengthen joint Arab action and to address the challenges and threats to the Arab region, the Palestinian issue and the Arab-Israeli conflict, as well as the latest developments in the Syrian, Yemeni and Libyan arenas, as well as supporting the peace and development process in Sudan and Somalia and the fight against international terrorism are the major issues from this summit. In their interventions, the Arab leaders emphasized the centrality of the Palestinian question, calling for the creation of a Palestinian state of the lands of 1967 with Quds as capital. At the summit of the Arab state leaders, the head of state, His Excellency Ismail Margile, has delivered a speech. Let's listen to him.
Sincere thanks to my brother King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, his government and his people for hosting this summit and for the warm welcome and generous hospitality. Holding this summit in the light of the circumstances demand to stand before its historical responsibility, the deepening crisis experienced by the region. We are compelled to redouble our effort and to deal with determination in a spirit of collective responsibility to overcome crisis, to strengthen the foundations of the security and the stability of our region in order to achieve the development and prosperity of our countries and their people. We must ensure a sustainable future for the coming generations. Despite the turbulent condition and crisis afflicting the Arab countries, the Palestinian question will remain the first and the main issue of our nation. In this regard, we insist on our support, and we must stand alongside the Palestinian brothers, our Palestinian brothers. We insist on the need for active Arab action on the international scene so that the Jewish state, strongly based on occupation, can stop racist practice and repeated crimes. The latest killing and brutal crackdown on peaceful protesters on Earth Day have been unprecedented. At the same time, we demand the international protection of the Palestinian against these daily crimes and the attacks against them. We reaffirm once again that the creation of an independent Palestinian state on the borders of June the 4th, 1967, with East Jerusalem as its capital, is the only way to achieve a comprehensive and lasting peace. Regarding the situation in Syria, we reiterate our firm position on the need to find a political solution that puts end to the human suffering, which fulfills the aspirations of the Syrian people to preserve the unity of the country and protect its independence and its sovereignty. Regarding Libya, we affirm our support for the Libyan legal institutions and our full support for all initiatives aimed at achieving national reconciliation and at consolidating security and stability. In this regard, we welcome the vast National Dialogue Conference sponsored by the United Nations, which aimed to break the political impasse and prepare for the parliamentary and presidential elections scheduled for this year. We congratulate Iraq for her recent victory over Daesh, and at the same time we express our support for the effort to promote national unity and safeguard the sovereignty and independence of the country. Regarding the situation in Yemen, we bring our support to His Excellency President Abed Rabbu Mansour Hadi to end the conflict according to the content of the Gulf initiatives and the results of the National Dialogue Conference and the UN Security Council Resolution 2216, including the unity of the country and its territorial integrity. We appreciate the contribution made by donors at the recent Geneva Conference in support for humanitarian relief operation. And finally, the evolution of the neighboring country Somalia. We reiterate our full support for the effort of the Somali government to rebuild the infrastructure and address the economic and social challenges and the fight against terrorism and extremism.
Now moving on to the international news. In Syria, inspectors from the Organization of the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons arrived in Damascus on Saturday to investigate the alleged chemical attack in Douma last week. A mission long awaited just hours after the western bombings of the United States, France, and the United Kingdom. This inspection by the OPCW comes as Paris, London and Washington claim to have already gathered enough evidence against the Syrian regime. On Saturday, France released a position paper on the attack, while the United States announced that the chemicals used on April 7 were chlorine gas and sarin gas. Saturday's airstrikes were denounced by the regime of Bashar al-Assad and his protectors. Russia and Iran, Westerners, are accused of retaliating even before they have obtained the results of the OPCW investigation, while Syria denies using chemical weapons and returning the bullets to the rebel camp. The French and British government will have to explain to their respective parliaments on Monday about the strikes carried out in Syria in coordination with the United States. On Monday, 16 April, British Prime Minister Theresa May will appear before Parliament to discuss the United Kingdom's participation in the strikes in Syria, with France and the United States in retaliation for the alleged chemical attack in Douma on 7 April. The same day in France, a debate without a vote will take place in the National Assembly and in the Senate. On both sides of the channel, voices rose on Saturday among the opposition to regret that the national representation were not consulted before the attacks in Syria. The number British side were used since the intervention in Iraq in 2003 meant that Parliament was consulted before any military intervention. The opposition parties and several NGOs condemned Theresa May's decision. In Senegal, hosting the Africa Internet Summit, scheduled from April 29 to May 11, Dakar will be for a week the capital of the African Internet. As a prelude to this event, the Minister of Telecommunication, Process and Digital Economy held a press conference yesterday with the Director General of the Regulatory Authority for Telecommunication and Process to decline the way bill. The 650 delegates from 54 African countries who will take part in this meeting will discuss several topics ranging from Internet governance, cryptology, or the Internet of Things. So one of the points that will be discussed is the use of IPv6 Internet Protocol version 6, which is essential for the Internet of Things. And now moving on to North Korea, Kim Jong-un calls for strengthening ties to North Korea, China. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has met with a top Chinese leader in Pyongyang, calling for stronger links with Beijing, the official North Korean news agency KCNA reported on Saturday. And according to KCNA, Kim received the Chinese delegation at a meeting on Saturday in which Song-to sent him to warm greetings of the Chinese. Number one, the two men had an extensive exchange of views on important topics of mutual interest. The North Korean agency added, without further details, the supreme leaders has said that he will work positively to develop the friendship between the North Korean official acronym for the exchanges, and high-level cooperation should follow between Beijing and Pyongyang. Song-to wished in return to contribute to the promotion of Sino-North Korea relations durable and prolonged. And that's it for this news. Thank you for joining us and have a good night.